Well. What have we here? Sanya Richards Ross is finally stepping up to the plate, baby. And so is her man. Sky Squad, we are back in the building today. And I need you, as soon as you step foot into the room, I want to know whether or not you feel like Ross was in the right or you feel like Ross was in the wrong. Was Ross right? Or was Ross wrong? Let us know in the chat down below while you're letting us know where you're from. I see we got Mobile, Alabama. Chicago's in the building, baby. DMV, I see you. Alexandria, Virginia. Yo, I used to live there. Penelope said he was right. Margaret said he was right. South Africa in the building. I think it's Tamitra says Ross was wrong. Okay. NYC, Philly, Atlanta, Louisville, Montgomery, Alabama. Bobby Ray says he was right. Let me know. So we got one from No Doubt 88 says it's always women's business when a man raises a voice to a woman, but okay for a woman to take a stand against a man under Kenya against many men over the years. Joy says he was right. Sharon says Ross was right. Barbara, Nelly says Sanya wrong. Miss Barbara had said he was wrong, but Esther says Ross was right. I knew this was going to be split down the middle, y'all. I knew it was going to be split down the middle because I knew some people would feel a certain type of way about it, and I knew certain people would feel a whole nother way about it. But guess what? We're going to get into it, all right? Danny says Ross was right to defend his wife, but it was a little doing too much. Okay. So let's get into it. You know what? In all of the melee, I hadn't even had a chance to think about what I was going to rate the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. And a lot of times I'll just think about it as soon as I jump on the line with y'all. And so as I really reflect upon the episode, I'm going to give it a 9.5. I want you guys to give it a 9.5 as well. Now, Lord, I said I want y'all to give it a 9.5. Rate it whatever you want to rate it. I want you guys to rate it, but my rating is a 9.5. Okay? All right. Nia says y'all was Team Todd last week when Todd jumped into it with Marlo, but I also think that was slightly different because Marlo was also disrespecting Todd to his face. So I felt like that was, I don't know. But in this situation, I felt like they were coming at Ross's wife, not necessarily him. So I don't know. We're going to talk about it. Actually, I do have an idea, and I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts on it as we dive into it. Thank you guys for updating me with your ratings. I see everybody is kind of, across the board on this one. Right. Marlo disrespected that man right to his face. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. And I got a lot to say about this episode too. That's why I gave it a 9.5 as well, because it was a close to a 10 for me. It's Jamaica day 2, and it's time for a 2-hour trip from Montego Bay to the Kingston where Sanya grew up. And they're going to do a race at the stadium between Marlo and Drew. I noticed right off the rip that Sheree got on her Sheba Sheree. Oh, and side note, in case you didn't know, go back and check this video out right here because Miss Ariane then dragged Martell and called Sheree old, okay? In the previous video from this morning, okay? So in case if you missed that, all right? Anyway, Sanya gifts Drew with an Olympic U.S. tank. And then in her confessional, Drew shades Sanya for always bringing up the fact that she is an Olympian. I want to point something out to you guys. Do you notice that anytime Sanya mentions something about her history with being in the Olympics and also winning her awards, Drew is like, she doing too much. But I noticed that when Candy spoke about it in this episode, Candy was very complimentary, like bigging her up, like, yes, talk that talk. So it kind of makes me wonder, is like, Drew, is there a little bit of insecurity that you have with this woman speaking about her accolades? Because so many times, a lot of us dim our own lights because we are so afraid that other people, or what other people are gonna have to say about it if we talk about our accolades or our accomplishments, hence why a lot of us don't do it. However, then when I thought about how Candy was receiving that information, and Candy being the boss that she is, it just, now I look at it and I'm kind of like, Drew, maybe you are a little bit insecure about the amount of accolades that Sanya, the new girl, has over you. And baby, it's not a competition. If the woman is highly awarded, she's highly awarded, baby. And she gave you a gift that you readily received. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, Drew, you need to cut the shenanigans a little bit with it, right? The Hicks World says, if my husband was sitting there while I got disrespected, I would be mad. A real man not going to let his wife get cursed in front of him. Ross was right. Thank you for that super chat, the Hicks World. I appreciate you. So that's kind of how I feel about E. Billy says Drew fell after de-accolading, not de-accolading. I don't know. So it just really put it into perspective for me when I saw how Candy was receiving it and how Drew was receiving it. Meanwhile, and I got to tell y'all, to me, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know. Actually, I'm going to hold it. I'm going to save it because I got a whole long diatribe that I'm going to unleash about it in just a second. Okay. Somebody said another super chat. Did I miss another super chat? Okay. So Drew and Marlo, we find out when they get on the bus, had it out the night before, because Marlo gets on the bus and apologizes to Drew. And then we get a flashback of Drew educating Marlo about, the ins and outs of parenting and what it might mean for Ralph to adopt Josiah or not adopt Josiah. And Marlo apologizes to her. And then and to be quite honest with you, I wish we could have started off the episode with this conversation, because I felt like it was important, especially as it relates to the last week's episode. Now, having said that, Marlo also apologizes to Sanya, and the producer asks Candy if she too wants an apology, and Candy is like, I don't care. I don't care if she never speaks to me again. I don't care if I never see her again. I don't care if she fell off the bus. I don't care if she falls into the ocean. I do not care about Marlo Hampton, okay? Meanwhile, they were supposed to be leaving at 8 a.m., okay? And they're still waiting on Kenya so that they can leave on time, because they are on a tight schedule. And meanwhile, Candy has made some excuses for Kenya about not eating, which Sheree kind of dismisses. But Kenya, according to Candy, Kenya didn't have no food last night. Nobody checked on her, this, that, and the third. Listen. Okay, Sanya finally texts her like, "Hey girl, we got to go." And it's like 8:40, and Kenya is like, "Do what you got to do." Here's my thing about this. This is mistake. This is annoyance number one with somebody who is late on a trip. If I have planned a trip and I am with grown adults, do not show up to my events late. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been on this show. I do not care what is going on. Show up to the event on time, or okay, fine. If you don't want to show up on time, then come on later. Okay. I'm fine with that too. Just don't hold us up, right? Because if I have planned this trip out to a T and you decide that you want to be late, I would rather you say, listen, go ahead. I'm going to catch up with y'all, because holding everybody up is disrespecting my time and everybody else's time, so that you can flutter around your room and take photos. You can do that later. Okay. Anyway, on the trip down, Marlo is trying to get out of this race with Drew. And then they are, because she's going to have to race her at the stadium. They arrive in Kingston where Sanya was born. They stop by her old house, see Auntie Sharon. They get back on the bus. They head to the ice cream house. Marlo and Sheree have a conversation about the heated argument that Candy and Marlo got into from the night before. And Sheree tells Marlo that maybe your passion comes out a bit too aggressive. Marlo doesn't even know why Candy jumped into the conversation. Meanwhile, Monyetta chats with Candy about it and why Candy jumped in it. And Candy feels like Marlo is being a hypocrite for dogging Ralph out for not adopting Josiah when it is Marlo's parenting that actually needs work, and she disrespected Todd. So Kenya has finally made her way the 2-hour trip, okay? And she's 2 hours late. She arrives at the ice cream parlor, and then Sanya and Kenya head to the side to chat about why Kenya couldn't show up for her and what's changed and why she hasn't been showing up for her on this trip. Now, Kenya feels like she has been there for her and that she's been on time, but the flashback that the producers give us shows something different. They show Kenya arriving late for the dinner. They show Kenya arriving late, on this day right here. And Kenya has just had an overall tendency to be late during this whole situation. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that Sanya, in my opinion, you can say to somebody, you're not showing up for me when somebody doesn't show up on time. No, the issue is, girl, why are you always so late? Okay. It's not just about me. There's an issue with you. So what I want to know is why you are always so late and untimely. And let me get on camera for this one. To me, okay, when I have noticed that I have a friend that is habitually late, I always have to ask myself, when you showed up late, did you look any different from how you normally look? Did you take an extra hour because you were experimenting with a look that you have never experimented with before? If the answer to that question is no, and you look like how you normally look when you show up to places, then I got to wonder about what it is that made you late. Because this routine that you have, you're showing up in your normal uniform. To me, you ain't done nothing different with your hair. Okay, it might be a little wet and wavy, but I mean, this shouldn't take you all extra long. This is a practice look. You came here looking the same. There's no excuse for you to be this late. But anyway, I didn't like the route that Sanya took with the not showing up for me, okay? Because I think that takes it into a different way, and it's not so easily justified. But then Kenya begins to talk about how she had a conversation with Brooklyn, and Brooklyn has not been wanting to talk to her daddy, and she get to tearing up about the divorce. Then she don't want Brooklyn to lose the relationship that she got with her daddy. I got a question for y'all. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it, because according to Sanya, what Kenya is doing is trauma dumping. So let me go into what I mean by that. Trauma dumping typically happens when, if I confront you with an issue versus you addressing my issue with you, you begin to pour your trauma out that is unrelated to the question that I asked you, okay? And as a result, I am no longer able to fully get a response to my original question because your trauma has trumped whatever it is that I came to you about. So I noticed online, Kenya did not take too kindly to Sanya's reaction to this. But what I want to ask you guys is, did Kenya trauma dump on Sanya when she was confronted? And has she been making a pattern of that anytime Sanya confronts her about something that Kenya does to her? Okay? Because psychologically speaking, if you tell me all of that, there's really no place else for me to go to get to the root of the issue, which is that you are continuously tardy. Okay? Right. It feels like, Leandra, as Leandra states, it feels like a defense mechanism so you don't have to deal with the current moment. And this is not being me being insensitive to Kenya, because I do feel like she is going through it, right? I feel like that. But there has to be a line of delineation between what I am asking you and what you are going through, okay? Because they cannot be one and the same every single time I confront you. So that just kind of gave me a little bit of pause right there, because I had to analyze. I said, is Sanya being insensitive here, or is there something to what she is saying? There does appear to be a pattern of that with Kenya and Sanya whenever Sanya says something to her about a way that Kenya has responded to something. So I just kind of wanted to know what you guys' thoughts were about that. Because I do feel like Kenya is going through a lot, but I would prefer to hear about what Kenya is going through as Kenya is going through it, not as a response to being called out about being continuously late. Okay. Um, and I apologize if I appear insensitive, because I'm not trying to be. I just think that there's a time and a place to discuss it. And when I'm confronting you about an issue that I have with you, do not misdirect my conversation so that you can get out of having to explain why you are doing something that is bothering me. Okay. Tracy B86 says Kenya has no respect for time on this trip. Wasn't it a few seasons ago that she argued with Candy about being late during the trip that Nene planned? It was absolutely Kenya that was arguing with Candy on the Sprinter van when Candy had that red hair. Okay. All right. So next, for whatever reason, shout out to our friends over at the Neighborhood Talk for this pictorial display right here that we are putting on the screen. For whatever reason, Marlo thinks that, oh, you know what? That whole argument with me and Candy, it didn't really happen, because guess what? There's some greater news in the world that's going on in the Bravo land, and that is that, Simon bought Portia a Rolls Royce. Why are we talking about Portia on a season that she's not even on? It made me feel like this is not the first time that there's been conversation about what's going on between Portia and Simon. And I love that the producers let us know that these types of shenanigans is going on. And why are they talking about it while they on this trip? And why would Marlo think that Candy would want to hear anything that she got to say after they done just cursed each other out from the night before? Okay. It was just interesting to me. And you got Portia reacting with the Nene gift. Now, why am I in it? You know what I'm saying? It kind of makes you it kind of makes you feel like there could be somebody trying to set the door, the door, leave the door open and cracked for Portia Williams to stomp on through in her stilettos next season. How would you like that? Let me know in the chatterization. Do you need Portia back or not? Okay. Anyway, Candy don't want to hear nothing that Marlo got to say. And they squabble about it a little bit, and they go back and forth because Candy is really done with her. And Kenya finally has to tell Candy, girl, stop talking to Marlo because she needs the attention. To me, in this situation, Marlo is in the wrong, because I'm like, if we had an argument the night before, I'm still mad at you, most likely. Okay. Especially if we've been screaming and cursing at each other, which I don't even do. Okay. I don't even like to raise my voice outside of when I'm talking to y'all. And when I'm talking to y'all and I'm raising my voice, it's because I'm excited. So if I'm not excited and I'm angry, I'm not even going to raise my voice. But if I got to go through all that and you done put me through all that, don't talk to me the next day. Anyway, the group arrives at the National Stadium where Sanya used to run. She does her run and she runs the track with no shoes on, which is, I'm a country boy, but you cannot pay me to put my bare feet on the ground, baby, unless I'm on the beach and it's sand. Because otherwise, it makes my skin crawl from my bare feet to touch the pavement. I'm getting hives just thinking about it right now. I don't know what it is. Something about it just makes my skin crawl. Okay. But anyway, Marlo and Drew go change, and Marlo arrives back out in her bikini, and they prepare to race. Apparently, Marlo wins, but the way that the edit in the preview was, I thought that Drew was gonna hurt herself in the race. No, Drew hurts herself skipping around afterwards. Girl, what? So the next thing you know, she done hurt her other foot. Okay, at least that's what the producers say. And she thinks it's another ruptured Achilles, and it is. Okay, it's something ruptured. Jamaica's minister of sport comes out. Marlo runs off to put her pants back on. Drew is escorted off to the urgent care, and unfortunately, 2 hours later, we find out that it is an Achilles tear. She hobbles back on the sprinter, and off they go. Sanya point blank gives them the itinerary the next day. At 9:30, we leaving to meet with the people at iFit. Kenya, you and Sheree have specifically made mention that you wanted to meet the people from iFits. We leaving at 9:30 because I gotta work. Okay. Now, to me, Sweet Cherry, thank you so much for that super chat. To me, that was funny. To me, this is part of the work that Sanya and Ross have to do that needs to be respected. And if you want to get in on whatever benefits that iFit is providing, I suggest you wake up on time that you show up on time. Okay. And we're gonna get into what it means to me, especially for Sheree in just a bit. Meanwhile, the iFit bus left at 9:30. Now, Marlo says she ended up leaving on a bus at 9:45. Okay. We see Kenya arriving downstairs at 9:50, thinking that she's about to board the bus. So Kenya then finds Sheree and Monyetta and Michelle, and Kenya says that she called Sanya and that she was on time. Baby, you was not on time if you was down to the place at 9:50. You were not on time. What you were is left. Okay. So Sanya over at the event space at the iFit with the iFit people says that she then somehow lost her phone and all the work or whatever. And Marlo made sure for her own self that she had her transportation and she was on time and ready to support Sanya, and they have lunch together. Now, see, my issue with Sheree is Sheree at 9:30, the cameras showed you lollygagging down by the beach with Michelle. Now, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that since iFit is a fitness brand and Sheree was going to potentially make a business connect, girl, if you are downstairs and if you at the beach at 9:30 versus where you supposed to be, that makes you look like a real lazy business owner to me. Okay. And actually, it's looking real lazy since She by Sheree has been in inception for the past decade with no real nothing to show for it. Okay. So to me, this is actually pretty fitting for Sheree in not taking business acumen very seriously. Okay. I think that it could have been some type of wonderful partnership for Sheree, who is in this fitness space with the body, okay, in a way that could potentially pay or fund, her dealings with She by Sheree. Instead, you lounging on the beach at the time that you're supposed to be at the car to go and meet these people. So you missing out on opportunities and skipping your bag. Meanwhile, Candy ain't missing a beat or a bag. because she's gone down to Drew and Ralph's room to check on them. But what she really needs is for Drew, while she's laid up with her foot up, to run lines with her, for the audition. And Drew gets to talking about some type of acting method using all 5 of your senses. And Candy's like, girl, just run me these lines because I'm trying to make my coin and go. Okay. Drew tells her then that she feels like Marlo is influencing Sanya, and she reveals that Marlo said that Sanya was stuck up somebody's butt, something like that. And then Drew overall feels like Marlo is messy. Well, I mean, she is. Anyway, Sheree, Kenya, and Monyetta and that group, they go off to the catamaran. They dancing and drinking. They ask about Sheba Sheree, and she's putting a presentation together in 3 weeks. She is putting together another presentation in 3 weeks. Sheree, if you don't hop on the Teespring and order you some Sheba Sheree apparel, I don't know what you better do. But yet again, if I see that this is a fashion show with barely any fashions, and I see some people standing around like they was at the Lay Archive, I'm going to be real upset with you, okay? I'm going to be real upset with you. You could have hopped on the Shopify, girl, and arranged and put and slapped that logo on some sweatpants, some joggers, some jeggings, some teacups, some tote bags, and sold the merch, okay? And the people would have been buying it. But instead, what are you doing? Where are you sourcing these fabrics from? Mars? Because it don't take that long for this stuff to get here. I know it don't. And I know that there are U.S. suppliers that will do this thing for you. Do I need to show you how to do it within about 3 to 4 weeks, Sheree? Because if I get my line out before you get your line out, we're going to have a problem, okay? We're going to have a problem. Meanwhile, as Kenya and Monyetta begin booty popping, pole dancing, punani popping, slipping, sliding around, doing splits, auditioning for the Sheba Sheree fashion presentation. If they had known that, if I'm sure if they knew that it was just going to be a presentation, no need in them breaking a sweat the booty pop and pop their punani. They could have just stood there like mannequins. If you just going to have a presentation, heck, you don't even need people. Heck, you don't even need to have an event. Just post it on Instagram, present it there. Okay, that's all you need to do. Anyway, it's dinner time. Kenya comes running down. Tata's a showing, okay, because she's not trying to be late today. Sheree sees Sanya, and as Sanya and Ross are walking around, headed to dinner, that's when Sheree asks her about being uninvited to the outfit thing. Sanya is like, girl, I had to go to work. What are you talking about? Because again, the cameraman showed us that at 9:30, Sheree was gallivanting on the beach. So similar to Marlo last week, neither Kenya nor Sheree have a leg to stand on in this situation. Sanya thought that, maybe Sheree purposely didn't want to be there and wanted to go do the catamaran. But Sheree is annoyed at Sanya. Meanwhile, you leaning on Sanya to help you put your shoes on, and then you warning Sanya that Kenya is not going to give her a pass. And Sanya, rightfully so, says, I don't give an ish. I came here to work. Okay, this is about my coin. I didn't come to play with you. Okay, y'all came to play. I came to work. There's a difference. Do not try to stop me from getting to the bag because you don't have the acumen and the and the drive to go after the work the way I'm doing it. Okay, how about that, Sheree? So they head to dinner at Ross Hall, it's a former plantation. Then they get there and, they have to wheel Drew in on her wheelchair, okay? And then dinner is served. So they chat about the day. Candy wants to hear an excerpt from Ralph's book. So he gets to reading at the table and, I do think that what he is attempting to do with this book is pretty amazing. And I actually have to give him props for the direction that he's attempting to go, because I think it is, for me, it's nice to just see a black man doing something extremely positive and trying to relate to other step parents in some type of way that could be helpful. And I'm always here for stuff like that. So anyway, Sheree and Kenya get to whispering about the Sanya, okay? And about, Sanya leaving them. And Kenya is like, so Sanya's like, hey, okay, what's going on here? Because I can hear y'all whispering across the table from me. The table ain't but so small. Kenya is like, well, girl, we called you and you didn't check on us. And Sanya's like, I was working. You want me to stop what I'm doing, stop the bag that I'm trying to get, find my phone, and call you and check on you to see how you doing when you was late for the day that I had planned that I have to work on? Girl, you crazy, okay? And Sanya is like, if Kenya really wanted to be there, she would have taken an Uber the same way she did the previous day when she met them at the ice cream parlor. So I'm totally 100% Team Sanya on this point right here. Don't play with me when I'm trying to get my money. I don't like stuff like that. And I don't even understand why Kenya would think to even speak about that, because lo and behold, if somebody was stopping her from trying to get to her bag with her Kenya Moore hair care, she would be pissed and she would have left them too. I bet you anything in the world she would have done the same thing. Okay? Anything in the world. And no, I'm not calling you to check up on you. You are an adult and you have a tendency to be late. And actually, every time I confront you about anything, you then take your trauma and then you pour it onto me so that I can't really even get to the meat of what your actual issue is for being late. So why would I even call you to confront you about this? Why would I call you to say anything about this? You were just going to deflect the conversation to something else so you don't have to really answer for what it is that I'm calling you out on anyway. So why would I pick up the phone while I'm trying to get my coin to check on you when I've already made arrangements for you to be on a beautiful catamaran? Get out of here. Okay? But they going in. I mean, Sheree and Kenya are really going in. Like, they felt uninvited. Like, they was like literally tag teaming her. To be honest with you, if I was Sanya, I would have just told him, listen, if you weren't there at 9:30, you got left. Period. End of discussion. I'm not talking about it no more, because y'all not stopping me from getting my bags. You not paying you not paying my bills. You was gonna go out there and do the outfit commercial? No, you weren't. Okay, so you do what you need to do. When you learn to be on time as an adult, that is when you can actually have a conversation about any of this. But until you learn how to do that, we don't need to have no conversations about it. Period. That's really all Sanya needed to say. And then Ross wouldn't have had to even feel like he needed to jump into it. Now, Robo's Adventure says Kenya had a lot of nerve, especially being such a horrible hostess last season, leaving her guests starving and ordering herself crab cakes. Yes, indeed. Kenya, you are not the hostess with the mostest to be even having a conversation about what Sanya should have been doing on a day that she had to work. Get out of here. And y'all know I've been loving me some Kenya this season. But Kenya and Sheree was dead wrong in this situation. Now, let's get to the Ross of it all. There is a big part of me that empathizes with Ross in the sense that it must be very difficult as a first-time husband on this show to watch two people come at your wife when you know that your wife is in the right. Okay. I understand it must be something there. We did have Marlo off to the side trying to tell Sheree and Kenya to talk to Sanya one at a time. But it is really up to Sanya to step up to the plate, dead the conversation, shut it down in a way that these ladies don't have anything else to say. And unfortunately, Sanya failed to do that. Okay? She failed to do that. I don't know if I blame that on her being new. I don't know what I need to blame it on, but she didn't do it. So her husband jumps into it. Now, I've seen a lot of your comments in the chat, and I've seen a lot of you guys say, you know, you like what you saw. You like the fact that the man stood up, because what he said was he stood up from the table and he said, hold on, I don't rock like that. Don't F with my wife. And then he sits back down. And Marlo was trying to tell him, no, no, no. Now, so here is what I am not annoyed with Ross for thinking that thought, but it never works well for the man that steps into the argument with other women on the show. It will just never work out well for you. So the best bet is to just baby tap your baby on the leg, okay? Tap her on the leg, squeeze her on the leg and say, baby, I got you. Okay. Because they weren't it wasn't necessarily directed at them. I'm not gonna try to tell this man what he should and what he should not do to defend his wife. I'm just gonna tell you that as a viewer, it's never gonna work out well for the guy. It's never gonna work out well. I understand where he's coming from, but it's not going to work out well for him. And the use of language, don't F with my wife, I can already see that that will be perceived as threatening because he also stood up. We already know how this is going to play out, okay? It is going to play out as though he was threatening to them, and because he stood up, that's also going to be perceived as he's threatening to them. Some people will agree, stand up for your wife, and some people are going to see it differently. I already know that. I'm just telling you that in the past, it has never typically worked out for the man that has stepped into the women's argument on the show. It has never worked out. It hasn't. And you can say, Richie, please, all you want to, but watch what happens next week. I'm telling you, if you are not a housewife, if you are a fan of housewife shows, you will know exactly what's going to happen. Catch up, Annie. Catch up. I mean, listen. I'm just trying to tell you how it's going to play out. You know what I'm saying? So we can all have our different opinions about it, but I'm telling you what's going to happen. So, and if you don't believe me, follow up with me next week. Okay, follow up with me next Sunday and see what happens. Okay. And I think again the difference, Kerwin. Actually, that's a beautiful name. I can't tell if it's Kerwin. I just love the name. But says, but there is a double standard. Todd has done this many times. I'm trying to tell you, I think that people had Todd's back last week because Marlo was speaking about Todd and to Todd and directing her disrespect at Todd continuously. It wasn't like he just jumped into the conversation out of nowhere. Candy was handling things. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's the difference. That's the difference. Someone was talking to him and about him. So I think people felt like, he had a right to speak up for himself in that situation. This situation is a little different. The beautiful Key says, Sheree is so disappointing. They're going to do Ross like Peter. Tyrone paid for that house. That's why she stayed down so long. She's embarrassing. That is alleged. That is alleged. I don't know if that's true or not, but I understand your point, the beautiful Key. I definitely understand your point. Thank you, Miss Tasty. I'm just trying to tell you I'm just trying to tell you how it's going to be perceived. You know, right? When you know, you know. I mean, come on now. We have seen this happen plenty of times before on a housewife show. So the reality of this situation is that it is going to play out. It's not going to play out well for him next week. Period. And may the odds ever be in his favor. Okay, that's all we can say. Because once you step foot into that ring, whatever comes your way is gonna come your way at this point. And so now we'll just have to see how it plays out. But based on the previews, I can already see it playing out in the street. You know what I'm saying? So that's just that on that. I'm not saying he's aggressive, Joy. We aren't saying that. We, in this video, are not saying that he's aggressive. We are saying the truth of the matter is that he will be perceived as such by some of the cast members. That's what we're saying. So you recognize the distinction of what we're trying to say. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Oh, okay. Yeah. You tell him, Joy. Thank you, boo. Thank you for clearing that up. Okay. Joy is with us. Joy is with us, everyone. All right. Joy is with us. Yeah, they're gonna say he was in women's business. That's basically it. You know what I'm saying? That's the stance that some of the ladies on the show are gonna take. Watch. Okay, but we good. We good. Again, I understand his thought. You see your wife in a situation being hemmed up, you know, and you want to put a stop to it. I'm just telling you that when you do that, there is going to be a perception based on what he said and the fact that he stood up. I guarantee you. Yeah, we've seen it happen before. All right. It's the switch up. Listen, y'all. We got more coming for y'all today with the big blow up on Married to Medicine. We're going to be talking about that coming up very shortly. Give me a second to recover, and then I'll be back at y'all with another video on that. And we already had a video out earlier today with Ariane dragging Martell. It has been quite an adventurous day already. Thank you guys for tuning in, tapping in. And y'all know what? I feel like y'all know what we got to do. Y'all know how we about to get on up out of here, right? Y'all know how we about to get up out of here. We about to dance our way up out of here because, I mean, you know, why not? I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Love y'all.